Welcome to video 16. In this video, I'm going to talk about assignment 3. I'm going to explain what the various deliverables are and how you can plan to make sure that you do well in this assignment because it basically consists of your contribution throughout the semester as well as work that you produce during the semester. So that's only a little bit of extra work that you need to do at the end if you keep an eye on things and start saving things and make sure that you start creating stuff to put into this assignment at the end of the semester. So assessment 3, it's really broken down into two sections. That's part A and part B. Part A is delivered separately to part B. So these are two documents that you need to submit, although the due dates are on the same day. So part A is worth 10 marks, and part A is basically about contribution. So the learning aims is actually to do this assessment. We're encouraging you to be actively and contributing in a very collaborative way to the entire class through the discussion forum, and also to your teams when you're working with your team in a design project in order to support peer learning. What you need to submit in part A is actually a document called the contribution document. The contribution document consists of two different sections. First one, we want to see 4 evidence, so they're basically screenshots. So my suggestion is that when you start posting things, when you start contributing things to the discussion forum here in section 1, start taking screenshots of what you posted. Okay, so we want to see four screenshots. So you select 4 out of the many things that you post during the semester, 4 evidence from discussion forums. And section 2 consists of 4 evidence of your participation and contribution to your team. So things that you contribute to your team during the course of teamwork. Okay, so remember, discussion forums and team contributions. And I'll talk more about these screenshots and what you need to do with them. Part B, in a separate document, in one document you need to deliver 2 things. So first of all, that's the personal reflection section, and then there's the portfolio. Part B is worth 20 marks. And basically we are hoping that in part B, we are supporting you to reflect and articulate your own growth, your own learning of particular skills, your development, because we believe that reflection is a really key skills that a lot of students find it difficult to learn. And when you go out there, if you're not have a deep reflection, reflective skills, it's very hard to understand what you really know, and also hard to articulate to your employer during interviews about what you know in a genuine kind of way. So hopefully we will start teaching you how to reflect. Second part, the portfolio, is basically we want you to learn how to put together an effective portfolio as an interaction designer. So part of getting a job as an interaction designer is also delivering a portfolio. So a portfolio is a CV, but it's a visual CV, and we can talk about that later in the semester as well. I'm going to talk more about what makes a good and effective portfolio for work. But here at least you're able to create a portfolio together, and we're showing you what are the key steps you need to put a portfolio together. So this, you might not be able to use it for work, but at least you start to learn how to create a portfolio. So part A, contribution document. Section 1 is contribution to discussion forums, as I said. So what we want to do is when you submit your screenshots, your 4 screenshots, they have to be annotated. Annotated means they have to contain text next to them. And the text should be about these 2 things that's in that red call-out box. Number 1, tell us what this contribution is for. Okay, so you provided 1 screenshot of something that you posted to a discussion forum. So what is it for? Is it to comment about personas and stuff like that? Okay, and why is this contribution? Why have you chosen this as an example of quality, as an example of usefulness? Okay, so why is this a good one? Basically, out of the many that you could choose from. So you need to explain, and you need to convince us that what we see there is actually of quality and of usefulness. Okay. Section 2 as well, So these are annotated screenshots again. So don't just give us screenshots without writing any text next to them. So they should be accompanied by text. Again, it's the same thing. What is this contribution for? Is it to support the team in doing a storyboard? Okay, and why is this contribution an example of quality and usefulness? To do well, we expect contributions that are more than just minimum required level. So meaning that, I'm telling everyone, please post your personas, or please post your user journey map, please post your, whatever deliverable that you need to do on the discussion forum. If all you do is just listen to me and just post, that is just a minimum, okay? What we want to see is actually you actually actively engaging in looking at other people's posts and actually suggesting something, or finding an interesting resource that you think the class is going to be interested in and posting that, or posing really interesting questions in discussion sessions that we have on Tuesday when we do video discussion sessions. Okay, so make sure that you start collecting really important contributions and valuable contributions that you make. Okay, so we provide maximum of 5 marks for your contribution to the class through discussion forums and on Canvas, and also the discussion sessions during lecture, and also 5 marks for your contribution to your team. And you need to submit this one document that consists of basically 2 sections. Section 1, contribution to the discussion forums and discussion sessions, and contribution to your team, and with the screenshots and with annotation about what they are about. Okay, and the naming of the file is shown here in this slide, how you need to submit it. Basically, undergraduates, we want you to start your file with your tutorial number. And for all postgrad students, because you just want tutorial class, to start it with PG. Now, part B of assessment 3 is worth 20 marks, as I've said. Okay, now this also consists of 2 sections. Number 1, the reflection. Number 2, a portfolio. So for the personal reflection, we're expecting around 1 to 2 pages. Okay, but we want you to think about under 1,000 words. We don't want you to be writing a lot, but 1,000 words is actually not a lot. Okay, now this is the hardest part. So what I'm hoping that you'll do now is actually going out and actually having a read on Google and having a read on different articles about how to write reflections. Okay, I will try and find some articles in which you can actually learn on your own and think about what reflection means. Okay, reflection is very much like sense making. It's about kind of looking back and seeing what happened and trying to figure out and try to understand yourself here. Okay, so we want you to write about your reflection about your growth. Okay, when you look back at that time in week 12 or week 11, when you start writing this assessment reflection, it's like, how much have I grown? But you don't just write about your growth without showing evidence. So the evidence itself then will be in your portfolio. So it's linked to your portfolio. So because I'm going to skip now to the portfolio and go back to the reflection, because these 2 things are interrelated. In the portfolio, we ask you to present 5 visual samples of your best work in this semester. Okay, so it could be a user journey map that you think it's really, really good. It could be a sketch that you were thinking about for a solution on your own. Okay, it could be a storyboard, one of the storyboards you created for your team. Okay, so it could be multiple things. Right? You need to provide 5 samples. Now, when you reflect on your growth in your personal reflection, you can talk about how you have learned, how you have taught yourself to do, how to create this storyboard, which you're going to talk about in the portfolio. Okay, we want you to also talk about and reflect on your learning. How have you changed in terms of your understanding of the content in this class? Okay, and what changes have you made in your understanding as reflected back in the portfolio samples that we're going to see? So you're going to refer to the portfolio. As you will see, my developed understanding of this is reflected in the storyboard in the portfolio section. Okay, so we're going to talk more about the reflection, but at the moment, enough for me to talk about is to say that not many people know how to write a good reflection. So one of the things that you probably need to pick up at the moment is actually writing reflection and thinking what a reflection consists of and what it is not. Okay. Now, next section is a portfolio. So this document will have 2 halves. So the next half is actually a portfolio. As I said before, the portfolio will have 5 samples that you select from everything that you've done in this subject. So you can't choose anything from, let's say, your part-time job or from another class. It's got to be related to this class. And each of the sample, again, needs to be annotated. Okay? You'll need to have text describing and explaining what is being shown. Again, why this is chosen. And what we should appreciate about this sample. Why is this of quality? Okay? The better, the clearer the explanation, the easier is it for the reader to understand. So in terms of a visual representation, so you can see that you start with a cover page. It's optional, but it'd be nice to have, like, cover page of Alexander White. Okay, so advanced interaction design, and then maybe a student number, and you can call it reflection and portfolio. So as you can see, page 1 and 2 here, the top two here, basically is the reflection. Notice that I've actually advised people to do that in a landscape rather than a portrait. Okay, and then 5 samples. As you can see, this person have chosen to just include 3 personal pieces that they've done on their own for their own development. And 2 pieces that they've selected are work that have contributed to their group. That's why they call it group here. Okay, so you can notice that. So these are some of the stuff that they've included, and then these are the annotation. And same here in this kind of map of the interface itself, there are annotations here and annotations to that affinity diagramming, and every page needs to have an annotation. Okay, so choose samples that you think represents the best of your effort, skills, or learning. And there will be time during the tutorial to look at your selections. Right? So, just to recap, Assessment 3 is not due until the end of the semester, on the final day on a Friday. However, what you need to do to fill in, to get the material to fill into Assessment 3 starts right now. Okay, the more you do, the more you generate. So that's why we ask you to develop all this hurdle requirement stuff. Okay, and even if we don't, while you're working through your user research, if you start to sketch some ideas about solution, then you can use them. So nothing that you create is wasted. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, and that you should be participating in contributing to the class whenever we have class discussions and discussion forums. Okay, I hope that's suffice for now. And later in the semester, I'm going to have a special video on talking about what a professional portfolio or what good portfolios look like to get a job. Thank you.